Hi, today's date is the 14th of August 2025 and today's topic is how does a change in my eyesight spectacle prescription validate tension myositis syndrome, i.e. mind-body syndrome, causing persistent symptoms that won't go off. Just bear with me. It's going to take a little bit of explaining, but it will make sense. So, approximately 2 months ago, I went for an eye test and I'd had a change in my prescription. At this point, it's worth noting I had been wearing varifocals, that is progressive lenses, for approximately 2 years. My prescription with my eyesight had changed, so my close-up vision needed to be increased, and I was noticing reading close-up things, i.e. reading a book, was becoming more difficult. Also, my long-term vision had also changed slightly. So I went ahead and got a new pair of varifocals. However, immediately I noticed wearing them, it was like my head was in a fishbowl and everything was coming in and out of focus, and at times was making me feel intoxicated. Not a very nice symptom. And at the same time, I had had a pair of sunglasses made, again, varifocals. So I immediately contacted my previous provider who had provided my original varifocals. Now just bear with me, because it's going to take a little while to explain, but it'll all make sense. And the dispenser at this previous place immediately said to me, yes, you will notice a change with your short vision, but you shouldn't really be noticing a huge amount with the vision at either side of the spectacles, i.e. where the vision changes towards the outer edge, unless the lenses that you've now had are not as good quality as perhaps the ones I put in for you when you first had varifocals. So I had to do a little bit of digging around, and it turned out that the lenses I'd had prior, yes, even though were not as the lenses I had prior, yes, they were slightly better quality without a doubt. They weren't a huge difference, but they were better. So I went back to where I'd got these recent glasses from and explained it. And they said to me, well, it could be that because you've gone from a higher grade lens to a lens which isn't as good, it could explain it. And they said, well, we do another lens. We don't offer it often because it is very expensive, which is a premium lens. It's going to cost you X amount of money. If you want, we can change it for this premium, best lens you can get, and see how you get on. And I went back to the original provider. She said, well, you could try it. So I went ahead. And this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I picked up my spectacles with now a premium lens in place. Did it make a difference? No difference. So I went back to the shop, explained the situation, and they sat me down, spoke to the optician, and they started asking me a few questions. When does this distortion that you're noticing get worse? I said, well, when I'm in an enclosed environment, a small room, there's people there, I'm looking at things. When does it get better? When I'm driving my car, when I'm riding my bicycle. Don't notice it as much. If I'm wearing the sunglasses, not as bad. They said to me, we think we know what's going on. This doesn't happen with many people. We only get a handful of people who we come across this. They said to me, the majority of the population, when they have a change of their prescription, they will notice a difference, different focal lengths, but the brain realigns the different focal lengths so you don't notice it. And the more you notice it, the worse it gets, because your brain is scared and it's basically telling you there's something wrong with your vision. So the more you notice it, the more it becomes obvious and the more it becomes persistent. She said the answer for this is to keep going with the flow, and eventually your brain will learn the different focal lengths, will blend them together, and you won't notice. She gave an analogy of herself where she'd had a bit of a different issue, but to do with lenses and to do with a tint, where she was noticing a blue tint. She said it was driving her mad. She couldn't get on with it. She was about to give up, and then one day she didn't notice the blue tint anymore. It had gone. She said it's very similar. You've got to give your brain time to adjust and learn, because at the moment, she said, your brain is scared. And this just hit me of attention myositis, which was came up with by Dr. John Sarno. There's elements of it, and also of other people in the field of attention myositis who believe that fear creates persistent symptoms. So my brain is almost slightly wired differently to other people, and when something goes wrong, these symptoms become persistent. But who would have thought having a new pair of glasses would show this? Now, she also said to me, which was interesting, that I'd had varifocals 2 years prior. So I was about the age of 40 when I first got varifocals. And she said to me, the longer you leave it, the more you notice the change when you first go to varifocals, because the eyesight at that point will have deteriorated. So she said, if you had only now been going into varifocals, the difference would be even more alarming to your brain, and you'd be even more scared, and it would be even more harder to overcome for you. And I said, yes, it probably would be. So this all links in, doesn't it? How the brain is receiving signals telling you there's something wrong. And again, you've got a different lens, different focal lengths, more obvious. But the general majority of people, after a short while, maybe a few days, few weeks, it goes. Now, funny enough, somebody who I know had also got a pair of varifocals for the first time. And they were actually the same lenses, not the expensive premium lens, but the other slightly not as good lens, shall we say. And I said to this person, so how are you getting on with yours? Do you notice any distortion? Is your vision changing? If you're looking up, are you looking down? If you're looking across, is that out of focus? Is the side of the lens out of focus? And they said to me, absolutely not. I've got no issues at all. I'm very happy with my glasses. So case closed. Yeah, it was just astonishing, isn't it? Well, thank you for watching, and it's getting pretty dark where I am, so hopefully I'll see you all soon. Take care.